wrath, extreme anger, or severe vengeance. The criminal felt the full wrath of the law after his violent actions were exposed. Creaky, making a scraping or squeaking sound when being moved, or old and worn out. He carefully walked across the creaky wooden floor to avoid making any noise in the dark. Prime, the state or time of greatest vigor, strength, or success. The athlete decided to retire even though he was still in the prime of his career. Assailants, people who physically attack others with weapons or violence. The armored car guards were suddenly ambushed by 3 masked assailants. Viaduct, a long bridge-like structure carrying a road or railway across a valley or low ground. The getaway car sped underneath the viaduct to lose the trailing police cars. Dispensaries, places where medicines or medical cannabis are prepared and distributed to clients. The security firm protects several major retail banks and legal marijuana dispensaries. Vaults, secure rooms or compartments used for safeguarding money or valuables. The thieves spent months planning how to break into the underground cash vaults. Premium, an amount to be paid for insurance or high value and top quality rates. The security company charges premium rates because they hire the most elite guards available. Ironic, happening in the opposite way to what is expected, causing wry amusement. It is highly ironic that the safest cash truck in the city was robbed on its very first day of service. Suplex, a powerful wrestling throw, contextually used as a character nickname. The wrestler executed a perfect suplex to win the championship match. Sidearm, a weapon, especially a handgun, worn at a person's side for defense. The guard checked his sidearm before stepping out of the secure transport vehicle. Pulling, drawing out a weapon for immediate use in a fight. You shouldn't be pulling a pistol when the enemies are holding heavy machine guns. Retort, say something in answer to a remark or accusation, typically in a sharp or witty manner. He chose to retort with a sarcastic comment instead of getting angry with his boss. Cynical, believing that people are motivated purely by self-interest, distrustful of human sincerity. Years of working in law enforcement made the old detective highly cynical about people. Prey, an animal or victim that is hunted and killed by another. In the dangerous criminal underworld, if you are not a predator, you become the prey. Wary, feeling or showing caution about possible dangers or problems. The experienced guard was always wary of any strange vehicles parked near the facility. Sojourn, a temporary stay or journey in a place. His peaceful sojourn in the quiet countryside was suddenly interrupted by an unexpected threat. Paleolithic, relating to the early phase of the Stone Age, lasting about 2.5 million years. The museum displayed various ancient stone tools crafted by Paleolithic humans. Hostile, unfriendly, antagonistic, or relating to an enemy territory. The soldiers moved cautiously through the hostile territory to avoid a sudden ambush. Menopausal, relating to the menopause, the period of life when menstruation ceases. The doctor explained the common emotional and physical symptoms of menopausal women. Shuddering, shaking or trembling convulsively, typically as a result of fear, cold, or shock. She stood in the freezing rain, shuddering from both the intense cold and deep fear. Lunatic, a mentally ill person or someone who is extremely reckless and dangerous. The driver was speeding like a lunatic down the wrong side of the busy highway. Unambiguously, in a manner that is clear and leaves no doubt whatsoever. The forensic evidence unambiguously proved that the insider had helped the bank robbers. Decidedly, in a clear, definite, and certain way. The atmosphere in the briefing room became decidedly tense after the bad news arrived. Raid, a sudden attack on an enemy, or a surprise police and criminal operation. The police launched a surprise raid on the criminal warehouse at midnight. Muffling. Deadening, covering, or preventing the clear sound of something. He wrapped a thick cloth around the heavy tool, muffling the noise of the impact. Therapist. A person skilled in a particular kind of therapy, especially mental health. The traumatized guard was strongly advised to see a professional therapist after the shooting. Disturbed. Having had normal functioning disrupted or emotionally unstable and troubled. The manager claimed he was not disturbed by the threat, but his hands were shaking badly. Percolate. Filter gradually through a substance or spread and develop slowly over time. It takes time for the complex plan to percolate through the entire criminal organization. Publicity. Notice or attention given to someone or something by the media and public. The heroic actions of the new guard brought excellent publicity to the security firm. Sarcasm. The use of irony to mock, insult, or convey contempt. Her voice was dripping with sarcasm when she congratulated her rival on the massive failure. Henhouse. A shed for housing poultry, often used in idioms about security risk. Hiring a former criminal to guard the cash vault is like putting a fox in the henhouse. Status. The official condition or standing of something at a specific time. The team leader radioed the base to report the current operational status of the mission. Psychopath. A person suffering from a chronic mental disorder with abnormal or violent behavior. The ruthless assassin acted like a cold-blooded psychopath with zero empathy for human life. Interrogate. Ask questions of someone closely, aggressively, or formally. The federal agents planned to interrogate the suspect for several hours in the private room. Trolley. A large metal basket on wheels used for transporting heavy items. The worker loaded the heavy cash bags onto a metal trolley to move them safely. Resourceful. Having the ability to find quick, clever ways to overcome difficulties. An undercover operative must be highly resourceful to survive behind enemy lines undetected. Grudge. A persistent feeling of ill will or resentment resulting from a past injury. The former employee held a deep grudge against the manager who had fired him unjustly. Phenomenon. A fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially an unusual one. The sudden drop in local crime rates was an interesting phenomenon analyzed by experts. Imperceptible. Impossible to perceive, extremely slight, gradual, or subtle. He gave an imperceptible nod to his partner to signal that it was time to move out. Warrior. A brave, experienced, or fierce soldier and fighter. The old veteran still possessed the fierce and disciplined spirit of a true warrior. Dignity. The state or quality of being worthy of honor, respect, and self-control. Even when faced with false accusations, he maintained his dignity and stayed quiet. Scorched. Burn the surface of something with flame, heat, or military tactics. The retreating military implemented a scorched earth policy to leave nothing for the enemy. Trafficking. Dealing or trading in something that is entirely illegal. The gang was heavily involved in the international trafficking of illegal weapons and drugs. Witchcraft. The practice of magic, especially black magic, spells, or superstition. The superstitious villagers blamed their poor harvest on ancient witchcraft practices. Invasions. Instances of invading a country, region, or private home with force. The specialized security team focused on preventing violent home invasions by armed gangs. Candidly. In an honest, straightforward, and frank way. The tactical commander spoke candidly about the high risks involved in the next heist. Understandably. In a way that can be understood, naturally or reasonably. The family was understandably devastated after learning about the tragic cash truck accident. Combat. fighting or active engagement between armed forces or individuals. Elite security guards receive extensive training in hand-to-hand combat situations. Tycoon. A wealthy and powerful person in business or industry. The oil tycoon funded the entire private military operation from behind closed doors. Ornaments. Things used to make something look attractive, having no practical purpose. The grand lobby of the cash facility was decorated with expensive gold ornaments. Legwork. Physical effort or investigation done in preparation for a plan or task. Before executing the armored truck heist, the crew spent weeks doing the necessary legwork. Downside. The negative aspect of something otherwise regarded as good. The high pay is excellent, but the downside of the job is the constant threat of violence. Reptile. A cold-blooded vertebrate animal, contextually meaning cold and emotionless. The ruthless criminal mastermind possessed eyes as cold and emotionless as a reptile. Clutch. A slim, flat handbag without handles or a mechanical component. She accidentally left her leather clutch bag on the passenger seat of the transport vehicle. Untoward. Unexpected, inappropriate, inconvenient, or suspicious. The dispatcher told the field units to report immediately if they noticed anything untoward. Comply. Act in accordance with a wish, command, or strict order. The armed robbers ordered the hostages to comply with their demands immediately to stay alive. Twitches. Makes a short, sudden jerking movement with the body or muscles. The sniper kept his eye on the target, waiting to see if the man twitches before firing. Escalade. A high-end luxury SUV model manufactured by Cadillac. SUV. The backup team drove a black luxury Escalade to follow the cash transport truck closely. SUV. Relieve. Release someone from a duty, burden, or contextually to rob them of something. The armed thieves ambushed the guard to relieve him of the secure cash container. Stealthy. Behaving or done in a cautious and surreptitious manner to avoid notice. The tactical unit made a stealthy approach to the building under the cover of total darkness. Armorer. A person who makes, repairs, supplies, or maintains firearms and weapons. The company armorer is responsible for inspecting every firearm before each patrol mission. Armory. A secure place where weapons and ammunition are kept. The guards locked down the secure armory as soon as the base alarm started blaring. Raggedly. In a rough, uneven, or exhausted manner, typically referring to breathing. The wounded guard was breathing raggedly while waiting for the medical emergency team. Pursuit. The action of following, chasing, or hunting someone down. Police cruisers and air choppers were in hot pursuit of the stolen armored truck. Intrusion. The action of forcing oneself into a secure place without permission. The heavy steel security gates are specifically designed to stop any immediate vehicle intrusion. Vicinity. The area near or surrounding a particular place or facility. Dispatch alerted all patrol units in the vicinity to respond to the alarm immediately. Breaches. Forces a way through a barrier, wall, or line of defense. The tactical team will secure the outer perimeter before SWAT officially breaches the building. Blockade. An act of sealing off a place or road to prevent entry or exit. The officers set up a heavy highway blockade to trap the fleeing suspects on the bridge. Intent. A clear intention or purpose, especially a criminal one. The heavily armed robbers clearly demonstrated an intent to eliminate any potential witnesses. Ruptured. Broke, burst, or tore apart suddenly. The forensic doctor confirmed that a high-velocity bullet had ruptured the victim's spleen. Lacerated. Tore or deeply cut flesh, skin, or organs. The shards of flying glass severely lacerated the driver's chest during the violent ambush. Trauma. Severe physical injury or deeply distressing emotional shock. The medical report concluded that the cause of death was sudden blood loss and extreme physical trauma.